Welcome to the ACLU of Nebraska's 2021 Annual Members Meeting. I'm Ashley Spivey. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm the Board President and Equity Officer. I am so excited to be here with you all virtually. We decided to stay virtual again this year as folks are still navigating the pandemic and want folks to be as safe as possible. This video stream runs about 30 minutes. It will be followed by a Zoom open house conversation by our amazing, wonderful, bold staff, board, and supporters like you. If you are on our email list, you've already received an invitation, and some of you may be watching from the Zoom right now. So welcome and enjoy. As we set our intentions here together, I'd like all of us to take this opportunity to reflect on the space in which we are all occupying. Our speakers and supporters are joining this conversation from different places. I am coming to you from Omaha, Nebraska. But it's likely all of us are on occupied land. It's absolutely true that all of us are on occupied land. Traditional, ancestral, unceded territory of indigenous peoples, such as the Sioux and Omaha tribe. I encourage you to research the history of where you call home and let what you learn call you to action to protect and advance the rights of Indigenous Nebraskans who are still here. Their histories matter, and so do their futures. Thank you for taking this time to be with us today. I am the proud board president of the ACLU of Nebraska because, like you, I believe in its mission and its impact. I have personally been affected by the major issues and opportunities that ACLU Nebraska works on, including mass incarceration and reproductive justice. So without the ACLU, we would not have folks fighting for our civil liberties daily. So thank you for joining us and continue to join us in the fight. One requirement of our annual meeting is to share financial information. And if y'all are like me, I am not necessarily a numbers girl, so we will absolutely have a slide up to help unpack and make this information as accessible as possible. I am proud to say, however, that we had a record-breaking year of financial support. Yes, to the money. This will help to continue our strong trend of growth. We have a strong 6-month reserve with an additional strategic reserve that can be deployed rapidly in response to emerging events, which we absolutely saw over the last year and a half. One example was the creation of the Freedom Fund to pay legal defense costs for protesters caught up in mass arrests that happened last summer. Our organization continues to grow by making smart investments in team expansion and programmatic spending. Full financial information is available at our website at aclunebraska.org. As our team grows, the impact has grown. And so much of that is thanks to my friend, my colleague, my Leo sister, the fearless executive director, Danielle Conrad.
Hello, all you beautiful ACLU members. It's wonderful to be in fellowship with you today during our virtual annual membership meeting. I'm Danielle Conrad. I'm the Executive Director of the ACLU of Nebraska, and I've been so proud to be at the helm of this beloved organization for the past 8 years. Today, as we take a moment to reflect upon the incredible successes and victories that we've shared together over the last year, we also renew our commitments and our determination and our resolve to prepare for the many challenges in front of us. So to help do that today, join me in providing a really heartfelt sense of gratitude to Ashley Spivey and our incredible board of directors who provide wonderful leadership to our organization month over month, week over week, and really help to always keep us dedicated to mission and community. I'm also thrilled to be able to share space and provide really exciting recognition for our annual award winners. It's so special to be able to recognize our board member, Jason Whitmer, a dear friend of mine and the ACLU of Nebraska, for his path-breaking work with the Mental Health Association to make incredible strides reforming solitary confinement in Nebraska and making Nebraska really a leader in how we can go about human rights reform even in the middle of our crisis-riddled prison system. So it's really neat to recognize Jason. We're also so honored and delighted to be able to provide recognition, well-deserved recognition, to Senator Terrell McKinney, who has provided visionary leadership over a host of key issues during his time in the Nebraska legislature. He has become the leading voice on smart justice reform, on racial justice, on ending discrimination in the workplace. And we are continually grateful for the energy and the leadership that he brings into the halls of power. So it's fun to recognize him here today. And then finally, we have an opportunity to provide some recognition to three really special people. Really our organization's highest honor and basically our Lifetime Achievement Award to John and Jean Creachy. John had passed away recently, and the ACLU of Nebraska wanted to recognize him and his wife Jean for their continual commitment to human rights, to civil liberties, and to particularly give special recognition and honor to John's legacy and life fighting for humane conditions for Nebraskans who are incarcerated. We're also delighted to provide that same sort of Lifetime Achievement Award to our friend Marge Plum. Marge has been not only a client of the ACLU of Nebraska with her wife Tracy in our Freedom to Marry case, but she's also been a dedicated board member and is just wrapping up a term, a multi-year term as our board president. So we are so excited to recognize Marge for their leadership and just want to really give a round of applause to all these incredible award winners. So in addition to providing this fellowship for all of our members, recognizing these incredible award winners, we also really want to take stock in some of the critical campaigns and key historic successes that we've been able to chart together at the ACLU of Nebraska over the last year. So the ACLU of Nebraska is so proud to have fostered robust voter engagement in the spring city elections, sending vote-by-mail applications to all voters to ensure that nobody had to choose between their vote and their health, as we're still living and working through a pandemic. We had another record-breaking legislative session where we stopped the worst abuses to civil rights and civil liberties and advanced key measures to expand and protect civil liberties and civil rights further. Shortly on the heels of wrapping up a very busy legislative session, we launched a robust, exciting new court watching and accountability project that is going into courtrooms all across Lancaster County, Douglas County, and in other communities to see how our bail reform efforts are being implemented in practice as we continually work to end debtors' prisons in Nebraska. We've also had the opportunity to come together in fellowship and community with our partners at the ADL, at the NAACP, and most importantly, supporting the leadership of student leaders across the state who really ramped up into rapid response mode when a key threat to civil rights and civil liberties, to free expression, to academic freedom presented itself this summer with a ban on critical race theory teaching before our beloved University of Nebraska. We were so proud to work with so many Nebraskans in that effort, and we scored a decisive and historic victory for free expression and for racial justice in Nebraska by working together. We quickly pivoted to a very, very busy redistricting special session where we were able to stop the worst abuses when it comes to partisan and racial gerrymandering in that process in Nebraska. Now, with an eye towards the future, we know that there are some storm clouds gathering on the horizon in Nebraska, and we have a lot of work to do. We know there are threats to LGBTQ students' rights. We know there are threats to abortion care and reproductive justice. We know there's ongoing threats to racial justice that are coming in the legislature and beyond. We know clear-eyed that there are threats to voting rights with the pending constitutional amendment on voter ID. So we have to take this moment to reflect, to celebrate the wins, to recognize that we can do anything working together, and really deepen our resolve and our commitment to be stronger and bolder and more effective than ever in 2022. I know that we can do it by working together, and we're grateful to have you with us always.
It is now my pleasure to introduce our amazing and bold keynote speaker, Bridget Amiri, who was actually our co-counsel on our successful reproductive rights case earlier this year. Welcome, Bridget.
Hi, everybody. My name is Bridget Amiri. I use she, her pronouns. I am the Deputy Director at the ACLU's Reproductive Freedom Project in the National Office of the ACLU. Thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you for being supporters of the ACLU. I am thrilled to be here today to talk to you about the threats to abortion rights, health, and justice, and talk a little bit about what is on the horizon nationally and the implications for Nebraska, and to really sing the praises of the ACLU of Nebraska. I had the great fortune of working with them on an emergency case involving access to an abortion for a woman who was in prison. And we got the call that someone needed help and jumped into action. The prison had cruelly delayed her abortion, denied her abortion requests, ignored her abortion requests repeatedly. And by the time the request came to us, she had been delayed weeks, and we immediately jumped into action. And it was a huge team effort. The ACLU of Nebraska, the Reproductive Freedom Project at the national office, the National Prison Project at the national office, we just divided up tasks. We all brought different expertise to bear in the case, and we got an emergency case on file with a fantastic quick result. The community in Nebraska was also amazing in terms of the different things that we needed to make sure she could effectuate her abortion decision. So thank you to the reproductive rights, justice, and health community in Nebraska as well. It was a whirlwind and a great experience to work with the ACLU of Nebraska. We shouldn't have had to do it, but I'm glad that we won, and I'm glad that we were able to secure access to abortion for the person who needed it. Obviously, as you know, Nebraska faces serious threats. It's a hostile environment for access to abortion, and the threats are just compounded by what's happening at the national level. There are 3 abortion cases pending in the Supreme Court that could affect Nebraska, and I'll talk a little bit about all of them. So the first is out of Texas, and it is an emergency case, and maybe by the time that you're watching this, there will already be a decision. But Texas decided to ban abortions starting at 6 weeks in pregnancy, which is blatantly unconstitutional. You can't do that. Knowing that they couldn't do that, what they did is take away any sort of ability by the government to enforce the law, and instead said that private individuals could sue anyone for providing an abortion after 6 weeks in pregnancy, or anyone who helped someone provide an abortion after 6 weeks in pregnancy. And the person who sued, if they sued successfully, could get at least $10,000 in damages, and could also stop the provision of abortion after 6 weeks in pregnancy. So abortion has basically been shut down in Texas after 6 weeks in pregnancy starting on September 1st. The case has gone through a whirlwind, but the issue in front of the Supreme Court is, who do you sue when the state passes a blatantly unconstitutional law and basically hands over power to enforce the law to bounty hunters, people who have no connection to the abortion, anywhere in the country can sue to collect this money or to stop the abortion. And the Supreme Court will decide that case soon, hopefully clearing the path for us to be able to restore abortion access in Texas. Obviously, what's happened in Texas is devastating, and we've never seen anything like it. Abortion has been banned after 6 weeks in pregnancy for almost 2 months now, and that has had devastating consequences, primarily on people who are in the most marginalized communities, rural people, people of color. People with means have always had the ability to access abortion, and these abortion restrictions and abortion bans have always felt the most harshest on people of color and marginalized communities. So we're doing everything that we can to restore abortion access in Texas right now. That case, if allowed to not continue, if the Supreme Court says we can't sue anyone, will be a copycat for other states. We're already seeing legislation being introduced in other states, and unfortunately, that could just be replicated in other places and possibly in Nebraska as well. The other case that is pending is a case brought by the ACLU in Kentucky. It's about whether the Attorney General in Kentucky can intervene in our case at the last minute to try to revive a lawsuit that we won, blocking a ban on abortion, a method of abortion used in the second trimester of abortion. It's the most commonly, safely used method at that time, and we won. But the Kentucky Attorney General tried to intervene in the case at the very last minute, and that case was argued by my fabulous colleague, Alexa Colby-Molinas, and we're expecting a decision on that soon. So that case is a little bit of a procedural wonky issue, but the implications are that can certain government officials step in at the last minute to try to revive lawsuits that we win. The other case is the ultimate question. The ultimate question presented is whether states may ban abortion, essentially. This case is out of Mississippi, and it's brought by the Center for Reproductive Rights, and it's Dobbs versus Jackson Women's Health. Oral argument will be held on December 1st, and the court is explicitly considering the question of whether all pre-viability abortion bans are unconstitutional. That should be an easy question. The Supreme Court decided that question multiple times over the last 50 years, starting with Roe versus Wade in 1973. So it's deeply concerning that the Supreme Court has taken a direct challenge to Roe for consideration. We all know that the Supreme Court's makeup has changed at the hands of Donald Trump. Donald Trump vowed to appoint Supreme Court justices that would overturn Roe, and he was able to appoint 3 justices. So we're deeply concerned about what should happen, what will happen in that case, although we know what should happen. We know that the Mississippi ban, which was struck down in the lower courts, should continue to be blocked. But all eyes will be on argument in that case on December 1st with a decision in June. But we know that Roe versus Wade is the floor, it's not the ceiling. We know that even though abortion is a right now, many people can't access it. So we need to do everything in our power to not just protect the right to abortion under the Constitution, but to make sure that the right is a reality for people and that no one is denied the ability to have an abortion based on where they live or how much money they make. And I was so honored to be a part of the case that I mentioned before with the ACLU of Nebraska to make sure that someone who was literally being held and prevented from getting abortion by the government was able to effectuate her decision. So I'm buoyed by all of you. The only thing that can make change in this country is all of us, and you are what gives me hope. So thank you for all that you do to support the ACLU, and without your support, we wouldn't be able to do our work. We literally need each other to make change. Thank you so much for all you do, and have a good night.
This year's Roger Baldwin Civil Libertarian of the Year award goes to our friend and my esteemed colleague on the board, Jason Whitmer. It is also shared with the Mental Health Association of Nebraska for their collaborative work with the ACLU in protecting human rights through solitary reform. Congratulations.
Yeah, I would like to thank everybody for the Roger Baldwin Award. I guess I would just like to say that I do a lot in the community, but I always thought it was just my atonement and that I'm doing all this and all this. But one of the greatest things that I learned, that when we come together like a community and the community embraced me, like so much more got done. I felt so much more a part of something, and that's what this award means, is like I'm part of a community. So I humbly thank you. Often when we go against these systems, or even just individuals' acts of bullying, oppression, it doesn't come with a lot of accolades, and it often comes with some backlash. But with that being said, When people talk about people of heroic character, people of moral character, people of ethics, and people who value the children in the future, those are people who are stepping up to oppose oppression, stepping up to defend just one person, to change their life because they know somebody has their back, somebody's on their side, and they're not going to just walk by whatever is happening. And so it is hard. It's also often daunting, but the great thing is there's a community. And sometimes you'll feel alone, but if you look, there's a whole community out here that have no interest in allowing all these forms of oppression to go unopposed, unaddressed. And you will find those individuals struggling as well, because many of us have ingrained forms of oppression that just operate in our lives that we don't notice until somebody else that's being harmed by it is bringing it out. And then we have to take a look at, is this part of our character, or is this something I'm doing unconsciously, and then making active decisions on that. So at no time I don't think any of us will say like this is easy. None of us will say we walk around feeling like we're heroic. It often just feels like just wearing you down. But we have a community, and I'm thankful to be part of that community, and I'll be more than thankful for you to join us if you ain't already part of it.
Our Defender of the Bill of Rights Award goes to none other than our friend and colleague in the work, Senator Terrell McKinney, for his work, passion, and dedication, independent of the ACLU, to advance civil liberties. From his successful effort to protect natural hair to the important police reform measures in LB 51, and so much more. We are grateful for your leadership, Terrell. Thank you so much. Congratulations.
How you doing? It's an honor to receive the Defender of the Bill of Rights Award. I'm not a person that, looks for awards or any type of accolades, but when I do receive one, I'm very grateful. For me, it's just proof that, staying firm on who I am and who I represent is, what I'm supposed to be doing. It's what I'm in the legislature for, is to defend those who don't feel as though they have a voice. And I'm not going to say I speak for them, but I'm representing them while I'm in the legislature. A lot of this started as just community organizing, just volunteering in the community, helping out with different community initiatives. And, it just morphed into this and where we're at today. I think I've always been sort of passionate about injustice and speaking up about different things in my life, even as a kid. So I think it was just a natural transition from just being willing to speak up as a kid to now speaking up for, the community that I live in and represent. That's my motivation, seeing people that, are going through a lot of hard times, but still getting up every day and willing to continue to go to work and still speak out and show up to meetings and volunteer. That's my motivation, and the kids as well. Don't be afraid to use your voice and speak your mind on something that you're passionate about. It's a lot of issues going on in this world, and I'm not saying try to take on all of them, but if you're passionate about something, don't be afraid to use your voice, because your one voice might change the world. So just, don't be afraid. I know there'll be a lot of naysayers, but even so, just continue to, be yourself and speak your mind. Thank you to the ACLU, and thank you to the people that elected me, and thank you for those who support me, and wish you all nothing but the best. All power to the people.
We have multiple awardees for our Robert M. Spire Founder Service Award, an award reserved for those who have worked with the ACLU for a lengthy period of time, and often the civil rights movement for even longer. Our first awardee is John Creachy. With heartfelt gratitude and sincere condolences to his many loved ones, we are proud to honor him, his wife, and his family. John was a friend and tireless leader for those whose voices are too often not heard or acted upon. We are grateful for everything he poured into making Nebraska a freer, fair place for all. He will be missed, and thank you for your contributions.
I remember my dad telling us a story where he was sent by the church to Selma. And I'm not sure that he really at the time even, I'm sure he knew what was going on, but it wasn't his life passion. So as a young priest, he was on the front lines crossing the bridge. And I think that's what really ignited the fire for him in particular. And, you know, it was the 60s. It was the time of civil rights. And, you know, it's sort of the you know, intersection of opportunity and time. And it was, and my dad found his passion there, starting in Selma and just continued on, always fighting for the underdog was really his thing. And the fact that my mom and dad really did it as a team together, you know, it was a project amongst the two of them, the love that they both shared, and then they, you know, tried to pass on to their kids as well.
I think the idea is just what you're saying, is to let people be acquainted with those needs. And so the more connection that is made with the non-members of those centers, the better and more help that they will receive. We never stop giving talks to people who didn't have the least idea how they could be connected with prisons. Connectedness. The first word is where's the need, and then with whom do they need to be connected with? And then where in the community are leaders that have not had any connection with that, so that the process grows and spreads. You really can unite a community when you got the needs being accepted and respected, and somebody really excited about getting involved in that, and how wonderful that is for both sides.
It's sort of maybe a little bit of a paradox. He certainly wasn't trying to be famous, but yet in order to make change, people have to know you and have to know your voice and know your purpose and listen to you. And because he was kind of funny and sometimes pushy and had a clear point he was trying to make and a clear goal, I think he would enjoy knowing that is all being recognized and that it was appreciated. And so, while not, you know, famous in the sense of the internet social media folks that we have today, I think he'd be really proud and happy and pleased that he's being recognized and that he has encouraged other people and younger people to fight for the same things he believed in.
We are also honoring our current second vice president, longtime friend to the ACLU, and my friend, Marge Plum. Marge's leadership has been instrumental to the success of the ACLU of Nebraska, but her work to protect and advance our civil rights and civil liberties stretches far beyond her time in Nebraska. We are so grateful for your work, Marge, and congratulations.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to receive this award from the ACLU of Nebraska. I've been working on LGBT rights and women's rights for going on 45 years. I'm not sure that's a lifetime yet, but it definitely is a lovely recognition of the work that I've been able to do alongside of ACLU and within ACLU this last 7 years. I actually remember when I was bitten with the bug of equal opportunities, and that was the Billie Jean King, Bobby Riggs tennis match in the 70s, and just seeing so clearly how a female athlete who was at the peak of her career could be treated with such sexism that it seems so unfair. And I think for many of us connected with ACLU, that issue of equal opportunity, of protection under the law, and of basic fairness is a really, really important aspect to our connection. during my time with the ACLU of Nebraska board, I'm most thrilled with our work, beginning work around diversity, equity, and inclusion, diversifying the board, supporting Danielle in diversifying the staff, and really being willing and open to looking at all of our issues from multiple perspectives. Civil rights can be seen as a single thing, but really the multiple populations that are affected by the lack of civil rights really needs to be considered from those communities and from those individuals whose civil rights are being harmed. I feel like the ACLU of Nebraska is grown and advanced in how it is taking on the work of ACLU within Nebraska, and that work is going to just exceed any of our expectations. I would just really encourage everyone who is concerned about civil rights in our country to connect with the ACLU at whatever level they can, as a volunteer, as a donor. Join my wife and I in the DeSilver Society of bequeathing an amount on our death, to participate on the board, and to make your voices heard. The ACLU is a megaphone for the social justice fighters of our time and in our communities. So join with the ACLU and give what you have to give to make sure that this fight continues and that we continue winning, as the ACLU of Nebraska has done so brilliantly. Thank you again for this honor. My time with the ACLU of Nebraska is a highlight in my lifetime and my career, and I wish you all the best. I encourage everyone to continue donating, continue supporting, continue engaging, and invite others, your neighbors, your children, your grandchildren into the ACLU family. Together, the ACLUs throughout the country and national ACLU can really lead the way to making sure that our country continues to move towards full equal rights for everybody. Thank you again so much for this award.
What a great meeting. Thank you again for joining us. We hope you are inspired, encouraged, and motivated to continue the fight with us. We promise to keep working toward a Nebraska where all of our rights are represented and protected, because we the people means all of us. Thank you and have a great rest of your day.